Hey guys, the Nazi Zombies World War II trailer was just released a couple of days ago, and I know a lot of people are making these breakdown videos, but I'm not going to break it down and go over all the details. I'm just going to cover a couple of things that I think are going to be really important for us to know. There's a part of the trailer where there's a projector, and it's projecting an image onto a body that's hanging up, and I wanted to look into like what is the symbol that's showing up here. The symbol is from a real-life Nazi secret organization called Ahnenerbe. I wanted to find out how important it was for the backstory and also what's the story behind the symbol and the secret organization. The first evidence that was shown to say yes, this Ahnenerbe is important is in a letter that Mr. Rafflewaffles received. If you guys haven't already seen the video, I'll have it linked down in the description. I would definitely recommend you guys checking it out. The letter is addressed to Marie Fisher from her brother Klaus Fisher, and Marie Fisher is going to be one of the characters that we play in the zombies mode. From what I can tell, Marie Fisher's character is not based on a real person, but Klaus Fisher is. This was a real guy that was born in 1919 and died in 1993, and he was a German archaeologist and Indologist. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the mention of the Ahnenerbe in this letter. Klaus says, I had to get this message to where it mattered to the basically German Empire. From there, it was only a matter of days before the Ahnenerbe rolled in with a full battalion of troops. He goes on to say, I took Dr. Straub down to the chapel myself, showed him the hilt to what we had found, Barbarossa's sword. The mention of Barbarossa's sword, I think, is the other thing that's going to be important for us to know, and I'll explain all of that after I talk a little bit about the Ahnenerbe. But in one line of the letter, he talks about how this sword is giving his life meaning and purpose again, so it definitely makes it sound like it's a really important artifact and something that the Easter eggs or maybe even reward may be focused on, and again, I'll talk about that later on. First, I want to go over the backstory of the real-life Ahnenerbe and what they were all about and how it could affect the storyline, and just having some information about it could help us like during Easter egg hunts or just kind of knowing like what we're seeing when we see these things that are referencing it in the game. So the Ahnenerbe was a Nazi think tank that was originally established to study intellectual ancient history. It was founded on July 1st, 1935 by Heinrich Himmler. The Ahnenerbe's goal was to research the anthropological and cultural history of the Aryan race, intent of proving that prehistoric and mythological Nordic populations had once ruled the world. Some other information is that the Ahnenerbe was in fact an established division of the SS. The SS is a military organization that worked under the orders of Adolf Hitler. The Ahnenerbe conducted research of all kinds meant to advance the Aryan race and discover its roots. Many experiments were conducted, but not much documentation remains. Because of this, historians can only speculate on the validity of most conspiracy theories. This secret division and many like it are still being investigated even today. Institutions. The Ahnenerbe had several different institutions or sections for its departments of research: archaeological, meteorological, medical, psychological, and even musical. As the SS and the Ahnenerbe grew in size and secretiveness, it was rumored that they even studied the paranormal. The archaeological expeditions made up most of their recorded research. Hitler and Himmler were known to be interested in the paranormal. This is where rumors of paranormal began. And this information right here about Ahnenerbe and them doing human experimentation could support the storyline where Dr. Straub is creating these zombie soldiers. It talks about how they did human experimentation on the Nazi prisoners to try and help the German soldiers. Going back to the letter where they were talking about how Kraus had found this Barbarossa's sword and let the German Empire know, and then here comes the Ahnenerbe like wanting to check it out. So what's so important about that is that the Ahnenerbe was very known for doing archaeological like investigations, and they would go to like Tibet. They also went to try to find the Holy Grail in France. So yeah, they were really into like, you know, history, archaeology, and trying to support their idea that the Aryan race was like the very beginning of people. One scene in the trailer is of this giant statue and this guy holding a sword, and that's Frederick Barbarossa, who they mention in the letter. And I'm not going to go into all this backstory about Barbarossa and bore you guys, but what I will talk about is that in the letter that Mr. Rafflewaffles had received, it spoke about Barbarossa's sword and how highly sought after it was. So it makes me wonder if this is going to be some type of focus for one of the Easter eggs, or maybe even a reward as a melee weapon. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully this will help us a little bit whenever we do start to play and, you know, some of these references come up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you next video.